We're literally having a conversation about other stuff.
You're cheering for us. Thank you.
I thought for fun we'd start with a speed round. By the way, we are going to open it up to you guys for questions, so we're going to leave plenty of time for that, so feel free to line up. How are you guys doing it? Do we have microphones on either side of the stage? What are we doing? We have somebody with a mic. Okay, great. Great. All right, you ready? Speed round. Don't have to get into detailed answers. Okay?
No detailed answers?
Unless you really want to.
Okay, like one sentence. If we
Favorite actor of all time?
Yes. Gary Cooper.
I'm not kidding. William Shatner.
What do you hope it will smell like?
William Shatner, you took my joke.
Everything bagels would be mine, Doug.
Cinnamon.
Oh, smoked meat from Montreal. That's what it was.
Boxers or briefs?
Oh, briefs.
I got nothing on.
I got nothing. All right. What's a talent of yours that might surprise people?
I'll show you.
How do you do
The
that?
only thing is that's not surprising.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think the only one I have I can't talk about in public.
That's the one we want to hear about. All right. What song do you blast and sing along with in your car?
Greatest Love of All, Whitney Houston.
Oh, I would pay to see that. You know which one I sing, and you'd think I wouldn't be able to sing it, is Sailing Away by Styx, right?
Come Sail Away. With the aliens in it, Come Sail Away?
Yeah.
Right. All right. You can have lunch for an hour with anyone, living or dead. Who's joining you for lunch?
Whitney Houston.
Is she singing you or is she
She's
singing to her?
gonna sing to me.
There you go.
Between bites.
Elias?
If I'm sticking to like my passions and stuff, it would actually be Orson Welles. I adore, I revere Orson Welles. I love to just.
And last of the speed round questions. Have you lied in answering any of the previous 7 questions?
No.
Awesome.
I swear, I love William Shatner.
All right, so let's get into Discovery for a few minutes. For both of you, how full a journey was your time on the show? Why don't we start with you, Doug?
Okay, well, how full was the journey?
Yeah.
Really full and really satisfying for Saru. He went through such a beginning, middle, and end, over the series. Starting out as a very fearful Kelpian who didn't know his full potential, was afraid of everything, and had threat ganglia, and something's going to happen, we're all going to die. Going from that to being very confident and no fear, and going through Vahari, where I lost my threat ganglia, and now living a long, prosperous life as an adult Kelpian, which we didn't know we could do until now. And then also finding love, right? As right?
Yay!
Now, Saru, I felt very satisfied with how they concluded my storyline with professionally finding my feet as a dignitary, as an ambassador for the Federation, and also with the love of my life with President Tarina, who was also really a good pair, a good match. We're both dignitaries, we both very prim and proper, and it took us forever to even hold hands, for crying out loud, right? So that was good. It was like watching a British rock drama, you know? Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Elias?
For me, it's more of a personal thing in the sense that I love Star Trek. I adore it so much. And then when I was living in Toronto and I heard that they were making a show, a new TV show, and I was freaking out. I've told the story before, Doug, and I apologize. And I called my agent, and I found out they were shooting it in Toronto. And I was like, they're shooting a new Star Trek show where I live. I gotta get on the show. I called my agent, and we worked really hard, and he got me on the show. And long story short, I was in the 3rd episode of the 1st season as a human. And long story short, that character went from about half of the episode to about 4 lines by the time it aired. Everything had been chopped up and cut out, and I was so upset and disappointed that when I moved down to LA, I called the casting directors and I said, please, like now Picard is happening and Strange New Worlds is happening, and please just get me on the show in some way. I'll wear makeup, I don't care. And they said, yeah, we'll get you on the show. And casting directors say that all the time, so I didn't think anything of it. And to their credit, 5 years after I moved down to LA, I got a call call saying we want you to play this major character. I didn't audition, I didn't anything, they just wanted me to play the character. And I would have said yes if it was one episode. It turned out to be the whole season. I was ecstatic. Like when I say ecstatic, I was ecstatic. Doug was the first person. I'm like, Doug, I'm going to be under makeup for this. Could you give me some advice? And he was great and generous with advice. And yeah, that's for me, that's the whole journey. Was being on it, being disappointed, not even watching the first season because I was so upset that I'm not gonna, like I'm going to see things that I could have played. And I was so mad. And then I started on like Star Trek after watching. And I eventually started watching. Like now I'm really mad I'm not on this show. And eventually I got on it, so that's my journey.
And then as a Star Trek fan yourself, who in your life who knew your Star Trek fandom was most excited that you were actually on the show?
That's a good question. I mean, my friends, for sure. Like, I grew up, you guys can look at, I've tweeted this before, but there's a picture of me when we used to shoot a Star Trek show when I was like 14 and 15. And there's a picture of me on a captain's chair. And I took that picture and I put it next to a picture of me on the real captain's chair on the Enterprise. And I was like, look at this is crazy. So my friends were really excited. And my family, my dad and my uncles who introduced me to Star Trek. I was like, guys, can you believe that? Like, you know when you walk on set, the first thing you see is no pictures, nothing. I took pictures of everything. And I emailed them to my dad. I'm like, look. I'm like, don't share this because then I'll get fired. But look at all this. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy. 2 fences on the bridge of the Enterprise. That's crazy. So yeah, it was my family and my friends. They all knew I'm a giant fan. So, and they're all fans too. So they were appropriately jealous, but very supportive.
Doug, I'm going to throw that question to you. I probably asked you 7 years ago the same question. But who in your life was most excited that you got the show? Because you did in everything. People were kind of waiting for you to get on Star Trek.
I was waiting for you to get on the show. Yeah, having been born in 1960, I've had an opportunity to be on every series along the way. So here I was in my late 50s, not getting and thinking, well, I guess that ship has sailed. Well, then they bring Star Trek Discovery out and open up the whole world of streaming to Star Trek. I'm like, yes, and I got this call. I was just excited as to be. The most excited person in my life before that was my lovely Mrs. Laurie. She's been a Trekkie forever, and she was always being like, why haven't you gotten a call for this series yet? And so when I did, she was like, about time! So I was very happy with Saru.
And then let's talk about character fates. Doug, you started to touch on this. Assuming there was going to be more going on in the future, did they tell you what they were thinking for the next season if it was going to happen?
They did not. In fact, between seasons, our writers often didn't know what was coming next. They were happy to have hiatus and think about it, you know? So when it came to, like for instance, when season 3 was done, I was asking the question about President Tareen. She'd been on 1 episode of season 3, and I was kind of like, hey, are you guys thinking romance for Saru and Tareen? And Michelle Paradise, our showrunner, said, hadn't occurred to us yet. Like, how could it not have occurred to you? We were making like eyeballs at each other that entire episode, right? And our goodbye scene was like, we love to, I said, I know that her home planet Jafar is not a part of the Federation again yet, but in the meantime, I would like for our conversations to continue. That's a let's do coffee. And so it's like, wow, how did they miss this? And Tara Roslin, who played Tarina, gorgeous, wonderful, oh my gosh, like Shakespearean trained, beautiful actress. We call her Judy Dench. Yeah, when she's done with the scene, we're like, okay, Judy, thanks for showing us up. Because she's so good. And she can deliver a monologue, like, with such poise and confidence. Anyway, so she and I both conferred, like, yeah, this feels like it's going headed to a romance. So season 4, my big question was, are we going to get some more Tarina? And they were like, yes. And then after season 4, we're all built up to a handhold. Right, and the fans wanted more. So before season 5, they had, I said, please tell me, I don't need to know anything, but do Saru and Tarina keep going with this romance? And Michelle Paradise said, oh, I think you'll be very happy with where it's headed. So we ended up in a wedding at the end of season 5, so that was very satisfying indeed.
And then Elias, your character went as far from a wedding as could possibly be.
Here's my story
Talk
about
about
what Diane discovered. I have 2 stories about it. First of all, when it's the corpse at the end in the last episode, it's not me. They asked me if I wanted to come up and do it. I think they were happy that they didn't have to pay me like an episodic fee to come up and play a corpse. But the other thing is, in one episode where he is a corpse, and they asked me to do it, and my kids were starting school, it was like October, and I was like, don't just put a stunt guy there if you can, or somebody. And then I found out that Jonathan Frakes was directing the episode. I was like, son of a bitch, I want to play a corpse. I want to play a corpse to work with Frakes. But that's when I think of Locke dying, I think of that. I think he could have come back if they wanted a happier ending. Or maybe he'll come back on Academy. Why not?
Talk to me each about your last day on set and your last day in makeup. Did you say, never want to see this again? Or did you say, thank you, makeup, for making me anonymous, I can walk the street? Take me through your thoughts on the last day.
Yeah, you should finish with this. For me, it was, like I said, it was my first time ever doing, I had done some relatively heavy makeup, but nothing like that. And it was, and you warned me about this, right? It's not so much the process, it's the wearing it. It's the wearing it all day, trying to act and eat, and contact lenses, all that stuff. It's funny, like in retrospect now, looking back, I'm like, oh, I would do it again. I would do it again. But at the time, I remember taking it off for the last time, I'm going, I'm never doing this again. And it's so difficult, and you don't realize how difficult it is. It's a first world problem. I get to be a bad guy on Star Trek. I'm not complaining. But you don't realize how difficult it is until you do it. In fact, I told Tunde, one of the showrunners, he's like, I would love to know what it's like when you do it. Take a day, put yourself through the process, so you know what your actors are going through. They never did it. Because it's so difficult and you don't realize. And when I took it, the first question I thought was, oh, how long in the makeup chair? Which is what everybody asks. But you end up, like exactly like Doug said, it's not that. Because I'm just sitting there, they're doing the work, I'm half asleep. And I actually timed out, it was 4.5 hours for me. So I timed out when I could sleep. Like an hour or two, okay, I can probably sleep now because I'm doing this part. And then I'd sleep for an hour, and then they'd wake me up, and that's not the hard part. The hard part is wearing it all day and then trying to act through it. And especially with Locke, because he's very empathetic, where I want the audience to be very sympathetic, so I have to get through the makeup, through the eye, the contact lenses. That was very, very difficult. So the last time I took it off, it's a long way to answer your question. The last time I took it off, it was like, I'm never doing this again. But now looking back, like, yeah, I'm doing it. But they might have paid me a little more than they did last time. But Doug, I'm sure, has a much more vast experience.
After 5 seasons as Saru, and thinking we were going to do more, and then getting the news after we finished filming the principal photography of season 5, got the news a couple months later. Well, that was the end of it. That was the end of the series. So we got this gift that the network gave us to go back to Toronto, open up the studio again, and shoot the epilogue that you saw. They called it the coda, so that little tag at the end of the series to cinch it all up for you. And thankfully, they wrote a lot of us into that final scene where you see Michael Burnham's future, where she and Book are living happily ever after. They have a son of their own. She's an admiral now. Life is good. And then she does a little flashback into the bridge of the ship to say goodbye to all of the crew members. So I was a part of that. Was my last day on the entire series. Can you imagine the emotions that day? Just think about this for a minute. You've been with these people for 5 seasons, and we got to know each other. We call each other family, and now we're having a goodbye scene on camera, which is also kind of like our goodbye in real life too. So it's like a lot of this. As Sonequa Martin Green, went from gray back to her, beautiful black hair from her youth, and the first thing she hears is Saru's voice going, Captain Burnham, and she reaches up and I get her by the hand, and she gets out of the captain's chair, and we hug, and that starts a whole string of hugs around the crew. But I was her first. So as we hug each other, look at each other in the eyes, it was no sound because this had stirring music going over it, so we weren't even microphone for this. And she whispered to me, "I love you," and I whispered back, "I love you." We did it every single take, right? So take after take after take, and now we're starting to get like warbly, right? Right. And then at one point she said, "I could do this all day. I love you." And I said, "Well, we are doing it all day, and I love you too." It was just so incredibly sweet. So that was my final day, but taking the makeup off that last day. Also with me that day was a documentary crew. There is a Doug Jones documentary in the works. It's 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 embarrassing and humbling, yeah. And they were with me that day to watch the entire makeup process, application and cleanup at the end of the day. At the end of the day, Saru goes on in 4 pieces that they glue together and blend edges. It comes off with a slit up the back and then taken off in 1 piece. So I had the whole piece of Saru, which I still own to this day. I took it home with me, my very last one I wore. And music is playing in the trailer, and I often would request Whitney Houston. Okay. So of course, I said, wouldn't it be appropriate if she sings "I Will Always Love You" about right now? So the documentary crew got me with Saru on my hand, and I was singing the entire song of "I Will Always Love You" to him. Right? So I hope we can get the rights to the song for the documentary.
That's what I was just going to ask.
I know.
Yeah,
It's not very cheap yet, but we're gonna try. Yeah. So that was very sentimental, and I did fight back tears while doing that little silly thing.
But did you catch yourself answering that question? How many things you said in the present tense?
What?
And talking about Saru, his makeup is. You were still talking about it in the present tense, which is really
Well, he still lives in my heart, so of course. But as far as like, did I want to kick it across the room? Never again. Partially, but I've been acting for 38 years now, and a lot of it's been under rubber bits. I'm in my 60s now, so it's like I would like to explore more humans now, and I have been. So for the last year and a half since I took that makeup off for the last time, I've been playing nothing but humans, and many things that'll be coming up shortly. But yeah.
Before we get to other stuff, I did want to ask you about playing action Saru. That must have been a lot of fun, and it goes to your point about Brett Ganglia coming a long way, right?
Right, he's got courage now that he never had before. And well, now Kelpians have always been, they established early on in the series that we were faster than humans, we can see farther than humans, we can hear better than humans, we're stronger than humans. But if you remember in season 2, when I was on an away mission with Burnham and Shazad Latif, who played her love interest, Ash Tyler. And I took their communicators from them and crushed them in my hands, gently. It was like, because he's that strong. So that's always been there. But then when he was given the moniker Action Saru from book, he was owning it now, I think, and knew how to use his strength and his agility and his speed. So yeah, that episode, I think it was episode 2 of season 5, when I went on that away mission with Burnham, just the 2 of us. We were shooting at things, dodging bullets, dodging this, and running around the forest in hoof boots. Try that. So I'm going to give a lot of credit for Action Saru to my stunt double. They don't get nearly enough credit, and my stunt double, Boston Kamalari, is his name. He was with me since The Shape of Water, and also What We Do in the Shadows, and now he did all my Star Trek stunt doubling. I owe that boy my life, because he saved me a twisted ankle or 2 along the way. And he ran through the forest with great agility, and I did a lot of great close-ups.
Elias, a question